Well, good afternoon, everybody. It looks like everybody's beaten me to it. We're just getting connected up and seeing that lots of people are already in the chat. Lovely to see people there. Great to be joining you. Do say hello to check that you can hear me. Just a message, okay. Yeah, we have lots of... Oh, so a message saying lots of people are connected and signing up for the course, which is terrific. Yeah, things are doing really well. I do hope everybody is well and enjoying this lovely November day. Certainly here in Derbyshire, it's been the most beautiful afternoon. Feeling a little bit stiff, been doing things in the garden before I started. And I know that here I am at the moment, it's the light is going. When we actually do all the rehearsals over the next few weeks, I will be... doing things. I'll set the room up slightly differently. I haven't got the piano with me today because I didn't think it was necessary. Just because we did the introduction thing, I'll rejig things slightly better for next time and make sure the light's good. So yeah, there's a few people on the chat saying first time they've sung this piece. That's all right. Don't worry. We're going to learn it. That's the thing about it. You don't always have to do the things that we know. It's sometimes really nice to do new things, isn't it? I know I spoke with Ben earlier in the week and he said he'd been really enjoying doing Haydn's Creation with many of you. And of course, means that we're ready to kind of go into that same space. I've just remembered what it is that's not right about this, which is that the advice from Ben was move the picture so that I could see the real me, not the one that's in kind of lag time. That's better because otherwise you know, this weird thing that I see myself 20 seconds after the real me. But I can still see the chat. Do make sure you say hi. Make sure you say where you're from. Lovely to see what you're doing. And I will do my best to keep reading the chat as we go through. It's 4 o'clock, isn't it? So, someone says they enjoy singing Haydn. Yeah, absolutely. Can't complain at Haydn. Hazel says good morning from Vancouver Island in Canada. So lovely in British Columbia. Great to see you. We've already had morning. Of course, it's been Remembrance Sunday over here in the UK, and lots of people out and about to mark that. I was slightly late for a rehearsal at church this morning because I forgot about the road closures as a result. Anyway, there we go. It's 4 o'clock. Let's make a start. Oh, it's a very wet Kent. We're going to have a look at this piece. Today is the introduction to it. We'll just be here for about, 40 minutes, 45 minutes, something like that. We'll hear it through a few times. I'll point out a few features. Let's try that again. I'll point out a few features of the music and we'll just sort of get a little bit familiar with how it goes and some things to look out for. And then, of course, over the next 3 weekends, there'll be time to really get into learning each of the parts. Really looking forward to doing that in these afternoons. As the light goes, we can still have good cheer. And so if you're feeling this is a piece that you just don't know, well, don't worry about that. We'll walk you through it. We'll keep you comfortable with it, and we'll end up doing obviously a terrific performance in the recordings. I don't know if you've had a chance. You probably haven't heard the recordings yet, but they are really good, and it'll be fun to work with them because actually they're really good quality offering. And I've got to get my eyes back. It feels like only about sort of 10 minutes since we last did. I did the thing for Music Sunday back in the spring, but actually, of course, the month clicked past, and I'm just sort of reacquainting myself with how the technology works. This is because it's a weekend project. Of course, for many people that's convenient. Other people have things to do at the weekend, but of course you can catch up with each of the rehearsals at a different time. Though it's really good if you can join live, of course, because not least you can contribute in the chat, and I can feel that you're out there, and I can see how you're responding to the rehearsal. I will do my best. Somebody's saying. It's the Creation, or maybe it's this piece that they sang with their face-to-face choir a few years ago. Nothing to stop you doing face-to-face choirs as well, of course, as well as this piece. Why don't we have a look at the first bit of this together now, so that you get a sense of where the music's going. And I'm hoping everyone can hear. It seems to be from if the levels or something seem to be wrong, do just put a comment in the chat, and I will try and adjust them. Hopefully everyone's got the score to be able to follow. Oh, somebody says, Judith says, don't forget the like button. Absolutely, don't forget to like things. It's so lovely feeling that everybody's out there and actually connected to what we're doing. So this piece is relatively short. It's about 8 minutes, and it sort of sits on its own because it is just a self-contained piece. I don't know how much you know about it, but it was commissioned towards the end of Haydn's life by the Empress Marie Therese. Earlier, when he was under the patronage of his old Prince Nicholas, Haydn was more or less under an exclusive deal where it was only for the prince that he was really able to write things. And later in his life, he was able to sort of cast the net a bit wider and respond to some of these kind of external invitations, basically. And so, this is an example of that. And he wrote it, so therefore for a particular thing. And unlike a lot of these sort of big-scale classical pieces, there are no solo parts. So everyone gets to sing all of the time, which, as a choir, is a really nice thing, of course. It means you don't get much of a let-up, but the music itself does give you a let-up, because it's basically in 3 sections. You've got a fast, joyful outer section, first section, a more pleading central, relatively short section, although because it's very slow, takes up a little bit of time, and then another joyful section to finish, and lots of imitation in that last bit in the sort of fugal entries of at least one of the sections. If you're not familiar with the Te Deum, I'm sorry, I seem to haven't put my brain into gear. I should have made a cup of tea before I started, shouldn't I? I'll get my teeth there eventually. The Te Deum is a hymn of praise, and it's traditionally, its origin is in the Latin office, the monastic office of matins for the morning, and was sung at the end of it as a joyful conclusion. In an English context, it's most often now associated with being one of the canticles. So when the Book of Common Prayer was created, Cranmer welded together various monastic services to create morning prayer and also evening prayer. And evening prayer became evensong, morning prayer became morning song or matins. And of course, for many years in many churches, it was a staple diet. Actually, much less done now, much less common, but still very lovely where it is done. Actually, I think one of the consequences of the pandemic is that even some of the cathedrals that used to do matins have drawn a line under it, at least for the present. But the point is, it's a very joyful piece. I think we should have a bit of a listen now. So if you've got your score to hand, do have a look, and we'll listen to the first bit, and I'll just sort of mark through a few things and then sort of point some things out to you. If you've got the same score as I have, of course, the one that's it's an old Novello one in origin, I think. We're doing it in Latin. That means, of course, you've got the Latin text to read, the lower of the two options, and because it's a dual language text, there are some instances where there are a couple of notes that you do or don't sing. So if you've got if in doubt, it's the things with the sticks going down that you have to choose, not the ones with the sticks going up. It'll all kind of work out when you become familiar with it. And the other thing, just to be alert to, if you're not very familiar with these old Novello scores, is the use of the crotchet rests, the backwards quaver rests. I always remember it came up I was presenting to the Friends of Cathedral Music Conference last weekend, and a composer was talking to them before my sort of little slot, and she was talking about the old Associated Board Rudiments of Theory book, and it was a little red thing that you used to learn theory from, and I remember that, and I remember it talking about the different crotchet rests, but they're very, very unfamiliar now, so just be alert to those backwards 7 rests. So hopefully, if I hit go on this, we will be able to hear some. Let's at least, maybe we'll listen to the first section, which takes you up as far as about page 12? No, page 13. So, somebody's sneaky in the back to listen. That's all right. Just sneak away. You're always very welcome. Let's have a go from the beginning. Joyful introduction from, and of course, I should say this is being done with organ, not orchestra. Talk about recording in a minute, but so that we get a break from me talking, let's have a look. Let's have a sing along as you feel comfortable to do so. Obviously, it's just a broad brush thing today. Here we go from the beginning. goes down. Nice bit of unison there. That becomes imitative. Tenors. A little bit of breather. Now we go again. Sopranos go now. And we'll just cause a halt there. So, hope you're getting into the spirit of this and thinking, yeah, we're going to look forward to singing this. So, I did just think as it was going, of course, I actually didn't introduce myself. And so, let me do that now for those who I've not met previously. So, my name's Hugh Morris, and it's lovely to be with you. My role now is to be director of the RSCM, the Royal School of Church Music. And actually, of course, much of the time, and particularly over the last 18, however many months it is, actually my job isn't about doing live music making, it's about running an organisation. And so for me it's lovely to be able to do a bit of actual music making, although I have actually been out on the road doing some things over the last few weeks again, which has been really nice. And so my background is first is a combination of having been a teacher in all sorts of different schools, and I taught at Newcastle University as well, and I've also been a church musician in all sorts of places. I've worked really all over the UK, from up as far as Hexham in Northumberland, where in fact I was on Wednesday as part of a tour with work visiting lots of our volunteer teams, right down to the south coast at Christchurch Priory. And so actually I've sort of, it feels like I've sort of settled in the middle at the moment, because we've lived here in Derbyshire for 6.5 years now, nearly 7 years, and for me now actually it's a really good place because it's in the middle of things. I can get north, south, east and west really easily from here, so that's really nice thing to do. And I still play the organ and I still conduct choirs. In fact, as it turns out, I've got to go after this rehearsal to my home local parish church to play for Evensong, because the person who was going to play Roger, who's a lovely guy. He's got it's awful. He's got gout in his hand, and so it's all sort of swollen up. And so there's no way he's going to play Sumption in G tonight. So I shall give it my best shot. Hope you got excited by this piece. So the recording you've listened to is recorded by musicians from the Temple Church in London, and you may be familiar with it. Really beautiful in the church in the heart of London. And if you've read the Da Vinci Code by somebody put in the chat who is by Dan Brown, I think, isn't it? Dan Brown, the Da Vinci Code book. It talks about the Knights Templar, and there's an amazing bit at the end of the church where there's all these sort of tombs and things laid out. Beautiful church. An amazing organ as well, actually, and an amazing organist. So the organist of the church, Roger Sayer, who is a very, very fine player, has kindly recorded this accompaniment to this as well. Ooh, a couple of people saying Derbyshire's nice. That's really good. And someone's going to do song 2. Yeah, I hope you're singing something nice. We're doing Sumption in G and an anthem which I can't. Oh, it's Wesley anthem this evening. So it's there's lots of rhythmic drive in that he's playing actually, and because the original version of this is for a large orchestra, but I think the organ gives it a good degree of vitality and something good to sing against, and some members from the Temple Singers, one of the group's singers at the church there, have recorded the vocal parts for us again. So yeah, it's great to hear their input. So look, that was the first joyful bit. Loads of C major, loads of C major, and then on page 14, it goes into something much more reflective, because it's the text. We therefore pray thee, help thy servants, who you've redeemed with your precious blood. It's just a moment of repose. It's definitely slow, a completely different thing. So, someone's saying, I know you're hungry, Ollie, but please don't bite me. The cat. Yeah, bad news if you've got a cat scratching at my PA, Carla, who's wonderful. But she's got a little kitten at the moment, and just occasionally, if I'm in a conversation with her on days when she's working from home, not in the office, you get this sort of ow noise in the background. And she's, oh, sorry, don't mind me, the cat's just trying to climb up my leg. So let's have a look at these two pages. Page 14 and 15, you get one really, really strong note from the organ, and then we're into this in quavers, very, very slow section. Here we go. See, told you, big note. One note, there's a soprano note here. Long note here is on. Great. So this is sort of expressive bit. I will check the settings for the next time, by the way, just because it sounds a little bit distant. When I was listening to earlier, I had the settings done slightly differently, and it sounded slightly clearer. But I'm hoping you can follow enough to be able to get a sense of this today. Now, then we go into this joyful end bit, and of course, one of the things is that many people sing mass settings quite regularly, and you're familiar with the sort of mass Latin texts. But because the Te Deum is a less common piece, so I'm not keeping up with Rosemary Chamberlain. Latin, yes. Oh, I'm sorry. I was talking about the English version. We're doing it in Latin. Absolutely doing it in Latin. I was just you know, I always say, well, you've got to understand the meaning. It doesn't matter what language it's in. You absolutely have to understand the meaning. Otherwise, how can you express what you're doing? You might as well sing a telephone directory, and I'm not going to advocate that. So the last section goes back into having gone into C minor to just provide a contrast. The last section is a sort of another real romp to the edge. So starts off sort of as before with basically it working as a chordal piece, and then you get, well, maybe you just pause it at that point into a sort of imitative section. So let's pick it up at page 16, and here we go. This is the link. Off he goes now. 3, 4, 5. That's it. And then the men parts alternating. One, two, three. And using here. Great. Okay, so just before we go into the next section, I'm just going to check, by the way, that I haven't got another file that I can easily open here. That's just checking there isn't anything else on my. Oh dear, excuse the ding. Yeah, I think I don't. Well, we'll work out next week why it is that I've got something. I'm sure I've got something twiddled here that would be better not to be twiddled. I'm sure someone will sort me out next week. It's doable for today. Do forgive the slight distance nature of the recording. It didn't sound like that when I listened to it this morning. Now, of course, someone's just put about Papa Haydn surely loves altos to song atop E. Yeah, absolutely. I was just going to say, page 19, there's just the one really exciting top A for sopranos. There's just the one at that moment, so that little moment. I think what's really nice about this piece, though, actually, as you go through, is that it feels like all of the parts are actually really satisfying to sing. You'll really get into doing them because they're just really well crafted, actually. So, now, where do I get to? Page 22, yes. That's the last bit to the end. So, of course, potentially, arguably, when Haydn wrote the piece, the pitch was a little teeny bit lower and maybe not so, it might have been a semitone lower in some situations, but we're singing it, of course, in modern concert pitch. So the sopranos and the altos have this imitative little phrase that then the tenors and basses repeat. Lots of dialogue in this bit. And there's lots of semiquavers. Someone just talked about, if you were singing a telephone directory, you'd have to sing lots and lots of semiquavers with that. Well, you get your semiquavers here. So that's all going to be about how we achieve clarity together about the da 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 da. you've got to be really aware of the pulse in this piece. So, and it kind of that goes on for about 4 pages until you get to page 27, at which point it goes into kind of something that sounds more like the beginning music, where there's the dialogue between 2 different sounds. So we'll pick it up, page 22, and we will go to the end. So the last couple of minutes of music. Here we are, page 22, bottom line. Here we go. Page 23. Finish. Page 29 if you lost Dorothy. 5, 6. Big finish. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's it. That's how the piece goes. Now, I know if you're not familiar with it at all, it's actually quite tricky to follow because of all of those rhythmic, really fast-moving bits, and also, as I say, actually, for whatever reason, that the voice is quite the voices are much less prominent than they were when I was listening earlier. But I directly from the computer. No matter. I say we'll get that fixed for next week, and I shall have my piano available next week as well, so that we can look at some bits. So we will properly learn in the musical course. You can feel comfortable that you kind of will get the hang of it. So even if you're thinking, oh, this is a big undertaking at the moment, don't panic. We'll get there. So maybe the thing to do is just we'll have one more another sweep of it through and just sort of feel the whole piece. And I think when you're just at the beginning of a relationship with a piece of music and you're not that sure, well, how does it go, and you haven't really internalized it, the question is, what should you do? I think that it's good just to keep the way this learning format works. It's really good just to keep listening and thinking about, okay, how does this go? What are they sounding like? The Latin pronunciation of these 4 very, very skilled singers is of course excellent, and we can learn from that. And it's church sort of style Latin that we're using in the sort of English Italian sort of pronunciations. One thing just to watch out is that I can tell you now, as you think about, is how in terms of really tidying up the performance, how long the last notes of a phrase are. So that we make it actually, don't shorten them too much. They actually need to be, if there's a rest after them, you need to sing the length of the note. Otherwise, there's too much hole in the music. tell you a bit more about it as we look at it. But actually, one of the things is that the opening melody at the very beginning, dun, da, 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 he is modifying, and when I get down to our offices in Salisbury, I'll bring a plain chant book or two back with me. I haven't got them here. He's modifying traditional plain chant so that if you were hearing it for the first time in Haydn's day, you'd recognise this tune and go, oh yeah, I recognise what he's done, and he's tweaked it. So he's tried to embed it in a kind of tradition, and he's given it this absolute joy. So I promise this time I won't stop it. I promise I will be good and just leave it going. It's really annoying when someone keeps pushing stop. So from beginning to end, let's have a go at doing it. Join in as you feel comfortable, but listen if you're not comfortable. Anything's fine today. Do put any comments about it in the chat as we go, so that I can keep it. Make sure I'm doing the right thing to help you. I've just noticed in the window. Yeah, it's suddenly it gets dark early these days, doesn't it? At this time of year. Okay, here we go from the beginning. I'm just going to pause it ever so briefly and say, someone says, is it better to read English or Latin? Well, I wouldn't worry too much about the English because we're not doing the English. We're just going to stick with the Latin. But if in doubt, miss it out today. Just sing do, bar, whatever you like. Actually, do's always quite good because it gives a slightly more focus to the sound. Don't, because otherwise you've got to about what do I follow? Do I follow the text or the words? Text or the music. Well, either's fine, but actually I think I'd be tempted to follow the music as much as possible. We can put the words in when we'll go through all of those words next time. Sorry to interrupt, I promised I wouldn't stop, but it was just to answer the question because you wouldn't hear me over the singing. We're on page 5, here we go, and... Sanctus, 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 Fortis me. Altos and tenors, go! Other plead parts. Three, four. Tenors first. 3, 4. 2, 3. Page 13. Right, I will keep saying some page numbers some of the time. Yes, just so you can hear where you are. So, as we carry on into the next section, as some people saying, it's easier just to follow if you're just following the notes at this point. One thing that I've sometimes done with these ones where there's two languages, it depends. If you, well, of course, you need to have printed it out to be able to do this. If you're working off a tablet, don't get out the Tipex. It's like one of those old sort of sitcom things where sketches where they showed when computers first came in, and someone sort of Tipexing out the word processor on the screen, not a typewriter. But actually, I have done it sometimes where I have, for a part, gone through and literally got rid of the language that I wasn't singing, just to make it easier to kind of follow. It depends how dedicated to Tipex you are, and whether you think that would be helpful for you. And obviously, you need to be doing that in a printout version. So as we go from, I say I will just focus on keeping up with the flow of the music and where we are. I will try and say some page numbers as we go. We are currently on then on page 14, and as Naomi has just put the Latin is away from the notes, so we will be making sure that we learn those as we look at it properly in detail. As I say, today is just about just getting a sort of landscape of the piece. And Evelyn says, I'm doing or bar-barring. Yeah, do away, bar away, it's fine. It's just absolutely fine to keep the sort of the sense of engagement. You want to feel that, yeah, we can do this piece. So I'm really looking forward to working on it over the next few weeks. So page 14, big organ note. Here we go. He enjoyed doing that, didn't he? Above it as it carries on. Someone's put about extra notes to fit the English words. Alright, I'll stop at the end to tell you about that. Next page, 15. That's it, you can do this. Someone's saying we can do this. Absolutely, you can do this. Of course you can, and it'll be great. Now, the extra notes, yeah, so if you are, this dual language thing, because they've had to do a singing translation. Obviously, the original language it was written in is the Latin, and it's been translated in this English edition, so into, English. And because it's a Novello edition, they thought, yeah, everyone's going to want to sing it in English, and so that's what they've put as the first one. It's if in doubt, it's the notes with the sticks going down that are the ones that you need for the Latin ones. Mostly, actually, it's extra Latin notes, not extra English ones. There's a couple of points in. Oh, might have gone past most of it. Oh yes, there's extra ones on page 18. We have to put in. It's in the first section really that some of the notes don't need to be sung. Or, actually, before you do it, have a look at page 22 if you can. 22, all the twos. At the bottom line, the English words would be, as our trust is in thee. And it goes in, but we're not doing that, we're doing the Latin verse, and it's 1 and 2. Quem ad modum speravimus. So you start one note later because there are actually fewer syllables to do. So we'll get it as we go. Let's do this last section. So and I won't stop at all as we go. We'll accelerate through to the end. Here we go. Whatever you sing today is absolutely great. Just don't get worried. Nobody panic. What's the worst that's going to happen? We'll practice it again. So this is the end of page 15 into page 16. And so do remember, over the next 3 weeks, we will be looking absolutely in detail at all of this. We'll be covering every note. And we'll make it so that it's, you feel confident about how it goes. So that the teaching properly begins next week and we will cover everything. So here we go. End of page 15. Page 19, page 20 now, soprano lead, 20. I tell you what, I did say they wouldn't stop. I did say I wouldn't stop. However, just responding to some people. First of all, yes, there are some voices louder tracks, of course, coming, so you'll be able to hear your own part really clearly. And secondly, just a little highlight here, page 21. It's not every day of the week that the altos get to sing above the sopranos. Just beware which notes that you are aiming for here. And as you go on to the bottom line, this is definitely one of those bits where you need the sticks down notes. There aren't extra notes, they're alternative options. Here we go, page 21, we'll just carry on. It's the bottom line of 21, we'll go on to page 22 in a second. 22 now. Bottom line. Page 27. So, just to check you're in the right place, everybody. We're at the bottom of page 27, and I can't play it because I've got no keyboard in front of me today, but I will next weekend. So a big dramatic chord that he holds on for a while, so stick with it. Don't get panicked if you're thinking, well, yes, let me never be confounded indeed. Don't feel confounded by the piece. The same, this rhythm, da 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 da, ba 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 ba, actually covers, litters the last few pages. This is, so we're on page 27, bottom line. Let's just wind it back about 4 seconds. Here we go. I'm sorry, I went back a bit far. This is the bottom of 27 now. Basses. You do it really well, stick with it. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 beats. All of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well done. Well done for keeping up. The thing to remember when it's a piece that you start and you're not very familiar with it, it will never be less familiar than now. So every single time you do it after this point, it will begin to feel more like an old friend. You will begin to develop that relationship and feel confident to sing this piece. It's quality music, you know, it's proper music by a real composer that's really well crafted. Somebody, a composer, it feels like a composer at the top of his game, doesn't it? Good old Papa Haydn, really writing something that's full of joy and vigour and actually demands that we respond with a similarly cheerful... You can't not smile with this piece, can you? You just can't. Da, 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 da. If there was ever a cheer-up piece, it's got to be this one. Well, amongst others, of course, but it's definitely a cheering up. So I know that sometimes when you sort of learn a new piece, it can feel like kind of wading through treacle. And you're going, oh, we don't know how it goes. We don't know how it goes. But it does get easier and easier when you do it. So look, just so you finish feeling good about it, what we're just going to do is the very, 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 very beginning. And I'm not going to do any more than 3 minutes, not least because I was talking with Marks on the chat today, and actually we said, well, 45 minutes or so would be about right, and that means that then, all importantly, I can go and get a cup of tea to steel myself before setting off to go and play some music for Evensong. So let's just have a look at the very beginning, and we're just going to do the first. We're going to do up as far as the first bar of page 3. That's it, and we're going to do it 3 times, so that you just think, yep, we're going to do it. And I'm going to see if I can find the right. Exact. I need to write some time cues on my score here so I can find the right bits. There we are. So it starts at 19 seconds. So are you ready? Bottom of the first page. Here we go. We're just going to go launch in, and we're just going to sing up to the first bar of page 3. That's it. 1 and 2. Te Deum. That's it. We're not going to do any more. We're going to do exactly the same one more time. Well done. I hope you arrived at the top of page 3 there along with me. Just if I can get the cue line in the right place with this. it's a relatively long track. It's quite hard to scroll. Here we go. Same thing again. Back to the bottom, page 1. Think, yes, we can do it. And I agree with Deborah saying it's an amazing piece. It is. Here we go. 3, 4. Te Deum, space. Te Deum, Are you coping? Are you managing? The answer is yes. Everyone's managing. We'll do it one last time. It doesn't matter if you sing the wrong notes. Nobody is going to mind. What matters is that you sing them with a bit of spirit and a bit of... somebody says, Karen says, it's so Haydn. It is absolutely, it's Haydn honestic. It's absolutely pure Haydn and couldn't really sound like anybody else, I don't think. Doesn't sound like anybody else. So, last go before we bring today's rehearsal to a close. Lovely to have you here. Lovely to have you on this Sunday afternoon. Here we are. Last time then, that same passage. Feel every time you do it that you think, yep, we're going to do this. And so, yeah, Adrian says, ready to record the first page. Great. Although there's only one bar on the first page, isn't there? So that's probably achievable. Here we go then, from the beginning. 3, 4. Te Domus, Te Dominum Great. I don't know about you, but I'm really looking forward to working on this piece and really getting inside it. There's so much to get out of it, whichever voice part you do. So there are 4 rehearsals over the Saturday and the Sunday each weekend. It doesn't matter which... Well, obviously, I'll be confidence... I'm reading confidence on the chat, dear me. Concentrate here. What I was trying to say is, so obviously we'll be focusing on those particular voice parts according to the schedule. There's nothing to stop you coming along to more. If you want, though, you're always very welcome, and you'll be able to listen back. It's been a fun 50 minutes. I do hope that wherever you are, if it's the end of the day, or for you, if you're further east, or if it's only the beginning of the day, if you're one of those people who's in the States or Canada, then wherever the day holds or has held for you, then it's been great to be with you. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I will speak to somebody next weekend to make sure that we get the settings really right so you can hear as clearly as you can. And I say I will have my piano set up here so that I can kind of run over a few bits as well. I've got a QWERTY keyboard ahead of me here, but I haven't got a music keyboard, and I feel a bit bereft, if honesty. But we'll put that right for next week. So from me, I wish you a very happy rest of your Sunday and look forward to the next rehearsal, which is Saturday. Be there or be somewhere else, but being somewhere else would be wrong. You just got to be there. Lovely to see you, and I will stop the stream now and see you all next time. And bring your friends. Yeah, everybody's welcome. All the best.